Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our webinar participants from around the world. Sorry for the delay in starting. Welcome to today's DevNext webinar on how to work with the Conflict, Stability and Security Fund. My name is Sophie Edwards. I'm a UK correspondent at DevEx based in London. I'm looking forward to the conversation and hearing your questions later on in the event. Before we get started, let's do a quick sound check to make sure everyone can hear. If you can hear me, please type yes in the chat box. Okay, I'm going to assume that that works. Great. Looks like the audio is working. So the Conflict, Stability and Security Fund is a 1.2 billion British pound fund, and it's the UK's largest and newest cross-governmental fund. It's just open for a new round of bidding. The CSSF launched in 2015 as part of the UK's cross-government strategy, which aims to spend 30% of official development assistance through departments other than DFID by 2020. The fund is hosted by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, but reports directly to the National Security Council, and its budget is made up of roughly half ODA funds and half non-ODA funds. Between 2016 and 2017, the fund was the biggest spender of ODA after DFID, and supports a range of activities under the banner of security and stability. And so today the webinar is focused on CSSF procurement specifically, and if you'd like to hear more on background on the fund, my colleague will post a link to my latest article for DevEx on the fund in general in the chat box. To guide you through the fund's procurement process, we're joined by an expert on the subject, Phil Lord, head of CSSF procurement. Phil joined the FCO in 2002 and has undertaken a variety of roles, including policy, consular, and communication, both in the UK and overseas. He joined the commercial function in 2013 and led on early program procurement, mostly through the conflict pool funds, which was the CSSF's predecessor. He led on the commercial delivery of the current CSSF framework and is helping support the retender exercise. He leads a team of commercial specialists based in the FCO who both deliver procurements across the network, as well as providing wider commercial advice on commercial issues across Whitehall. Before I get started, I wanted to note that we will leave plenty of time to answer questions at the end. You can enter your questions using the chat box in the Ready Talk window, and feel free to submit questions at any time during the webinar. I'll keep track of them and we'll get to as many as time allows. If you have any technical problems during the webinar, please send a message through the chat box and one of my colleagues will assist you. And with that, I will hand it over to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, and welcome to everybody who's joining this webinar. As stated, my name is Philip Lord. I'm head of the CSSF procurement team here in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. I'll most likely refer to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office as the FCO. I have a habit of using such acronyms without giving the context. So FCO will be where I am based, and that's obviously UK government. I run a team here of commercial specialists, and we are predominantly FCO based, but we do provide advice and support to other government departments who want to use or want to procure off CSSF framework or need advice more generally for CSSF contracting. Just as a point here, it's probably worth me just noticing and explaining to you all in terms of how some of that split might work, and I dare say there may be some questions on this later. In terms of the sort of general CSSF expenditure, we are looking at a split across government, which is around 70% sitting on the FCO. In terms of background to what is the CSSF, this was created in 2015. This was to tackle fragility in conflict-affected countries at the direction of the National Security Council, the NSC. As already stated, this is a cross-government fund. This isn't an FCO fund. This is cross-government. It does have an annual budget of 1.2 billion. This delivers and supports security, defence, peacekeeping, peace building and stability activity using both official development assistance, ODA, and also non-ODA funding. Worth noting here that before the CSSF, we had what was called the conflict pool, and the CSSF has grown from the conflict pool. The conflict pool was a similar sort of program, which also reported to the National Security Council, but it was much smaller in scale. And it was tripartite. It was only the Ministry of Defence, the FCO, and the Department for International Development. It's also, as I say, it's a lot bigger than the conflict pool. The CSSF is probably at least twice the size in terms of commercial expenditure, if not more. It's worth noting that.